What a great session to kick us off here today. And Attis, welcome to ECS once again. And John,
Thank you.
great to have you here as well. So
Thanks.
by means of introduction, in case certain folks may have missed it in the beginning of the session today, Attis Bouillon, he is the Director of Global Software Partner Sales at Intel. Lots of tenure and lots of partner programs behind you, Attis. So great to have you on this session here with us today. And John McAtee. John is Director of Global Alliances and Accounts at VMware. Great to have you here, John, as well.
Thanks, Gaurav. Good to be here.
Great.
Good to be here. Thanks.
All righty, let's get started. I know, Attis, you and I have done this before, so this time we're doing it virtually, and couldn't be more grateful to be sharing the virtual stage with you here today. So great. Attis, it's great to see the success that the Amplify program has had, and to give folks a flavor, you know, companies like Intel and VMware, you clearly have a shared customer. You also have a shared channel, and yet working, you know, cohesively together to activate this channel has always been a common problem. Most people talk about it. Most people think about it. Most people, you know, suffer in many ways because of it. Yet, I feel like when you embarked on this journey of digitizing this partner program and going to market, the two of you thought of this problem statement very different, you know, slightly differently than others have in the past. So tell us a little bit about how you thought about this problem differently and pioneered a new way of working and collaborating together.
All right, I'm up first. I would say that both Intel and VMware over the last 10 years have featured a lot of thought leaders that message software-defined data center world. And I think that while cloud, where the hyperscaler cloud vision has undoubtedly become a reality, we were surprised at the pace of the enterprise. And so our focus really started there in a sense of, you know, how does an enterprise deploy these technologies and get them in use so they can realize the value of the technologies more quickly. So Amplify really started in that vein, and it's really been about getting the services, software, hardware, all the components to be a sort of a one-stop shop. John, you want to add anything?
Yeah, and I'd say, you know, Gaurav, to your point, kind of activating the channel is a struggle, even for two big companies who have programs running, you know, pretty fluently with the channel players. So, you know, if you stepping back, as we looked at what we do together with this channel, you know, it's one, we were very aligned around our vision around multi and hybrid clouds, what Attis said. And so trying to get enterprises more engaged there was part of that priority. As we looked at what best to do for them, for us, you know, and for Intel, this Amplify is focused around deployments and a deployment program around what we see as our growth technologies. So there's a whole suite of products that we're trying to drive, you know, building solutions that are going to benefit customers, and using our the channel to deploy those is critical. And then what Intel saw in that, you know, they see obviously the solutions as we deploy these solutions, software solutions for the data center, they're seeing a great pull through of their products. So it's, you know, it started, to Attis's point around, you know, our 10-year collaboration was around building infrastructure solutions. And now this, as we look to morph into the multi-hybrid cloud world, how we're delivering those through our channel partners to customers.
Absolutely. Well said, John. Well said. I think the thing that inspired me the most when you guys embarked on this journey was that you changed the statement by basically saying, you know, how can we work as one company because we have a shared customer and a shared channel, right? And then you rethought of how do we operate in this mode, and how do we digitize our processes and our workflows such that we can have a bigger impact together. So that said, tell us a little bit more about the Amplify program itself, and how does it serve your end customer in a better way?
Yeah, sure. I'll take that one first. The Amplify program is really a services-led program. So it's targeted at an SI being able to deploy our solutions. And so we feed that channel with all the information they need and try to make that as simple as possible, so that the end customer can grow a relationship with the SI, who's ultimately going to be on the feet on the street to provide them with help and expand those solutions. So the Amplify is really targeted there. We had a lot of trials and tribulations with it. We started with one product, small, a couple of years ago, and we've expanded it quite a bit to most of what John would call VMware's merging technologies. Is that right?
Yeah, our growth technologies, but yeah.
Growth. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and I would say, looking at it, as we look at tools like Amplify or programs like Amplify that are going to help support our partners, we have a global partner organization that designed solution competencies that we're trying to instill and train up partners on. For us, this has been a great tool and vehicle to support those solution competencies, because at the end of the day, if partners know how to deploy our solutions, which are foundationally built on Intel's technology, we're both going to win, and the partners are going to see hopefully greater revenue through deploying those solutions. So that's kind of the backdrop of why I think Amplify has been just a key program in the things we do with Intel.
Absolutely.
Did we answer that one okay?
Yes, you did. That was great. I think you guys are being a little bit modest in the success of Amplify, but yeah, you did answer the question. And to build up,
one thing I'll weigh in there with is just that it fits perfectly with the fact that I talked about our alignment with Intel is pretty solid, from data center transformation to cloud management to whether it's public or private clouds. It's been a vehicle to allow our partners to deploy those solutions, and it supports what we're driving with them. And by the receptivity of the partners, they see the benefit of helping support the services side of things. And then both us and Intel, where we have say solution architects or specialists with the account, either the accounts or with those partners, will come alongside the channel partners to help just making sure that solution's deployed appropriately.
Awesome. And in Amit's session, he talked a little bit about digitizing collaboration, digitizing processes, digitizing data sharing. With the Amplify program, you guys have done all these three things now. And talk a little bit about how did you work with each other in the execution, in the tactical execution of this program before versus after digitizing it using a platform like WorkSpan?
A complicated network of spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations, and email, and it was a little bit chaotic, but it was small. But you would have people sending requests in whatever format and reviewing it on email. So it was a very labor-intensive passion project.
And John, how about from your end, especially because you were working with a lot of downstream partners, channel partners of VMware as well. Like, how was your life, difficult before?
Yeah, Attis's point was spot on in terms of, we were managing spreadsheets, and that using that as the tool to drive both the approval process for a deployment per se from a partner was very kind of rigorous and tough and had errors. And, the partners, as we step back, we say, hey, we need to have something that's seamless and easy for the partners to understand and then engage with, because their partners are thrown, various programs from all their big ecosystem partners, let's say. So, putting in place a web-based interface to help just streamline the process has been great, just because it's dynamic. We now see, more real-time data in terms of where not only that opportunity, what it looks like, whether we want to approve the opportunity, which partners it's coming from, and what specific solutions we're going after with and through that opportunity. So it's been dynamic. It's been, we're probably second year on this real journey around using WorkSpan as a collaboration tool, but it's been good.
Got it. And it seems like the process, so what you guys are saying is that the process was manual. It was at times long and error prone. It was a spreadsheet-based process, and also at times relied maybe on contracted resources perhaps to get the job done, which could have led to delays in POC or elongated revenue cycles. Now that things have been digitized, like what clear impact are you seeing? Like, what are you feeling in your day-to-day life, and what impact have you seen because of it?
I think that the number one impact for me is broader usage of the program. Like John said, I mean, partners have a wide menu of programs across their partners that they have access to, and the easiest to implement and to execute on tend to be the ones that are favored. And so, we really try to make Amplify as easy as possible. And I mean, you can imagine with companies the size of Intel or VMware, the challenges are there, but we can do a lot to make that easy. So the number of projects that we do have increased dramatically. I would say for me personally, that's sort of my business hat on. For my personal hat on, when I ask somebody for reporting, it doesn't take 2 days to get it, and I know that it's accurate. So that's been a problem in the past, where you're asking some staff member for reporting, and they take a couple of days to get it, and then you find that there's a lot of errors, and it's not exactly their fault. I mean, you can only set the bar so high. So in one web interface that is kind of controlled experience, you get what you need quickly.
Yeah,
got it.
And I would just say, pretty much all facets from deploying the program in general to partners, they're seeing it in a much easier fashion to use. So to Attis's point, our goal really is double the impact for this year. So we just launched Amplify 2020. Goal is double the impact, and for both of our companies is double the impacts, both partners engaged in revenue, that we can show in terms of ROI program. And I think, so certainly we're going to see that reporting. WorkSpan's guaranteed us that we're going to see that kind of reporting that we can get from the program. So it's awesome.
Yeah, that's really good to hear, Attis and John. So from my perspective, it seems that clearly there is a more visible joint process, not only between Intel and VMware, but also there's more visibility now that Intel has to the channel partners of VMware that are helping you make a dent in the bottom line. And then anywhere from VMware or channel partner can now directly submit the proposals, and not only can they submit more proposal, and hence, Attis, to your point, you're seeing an increased number of proposals that are coming in, but it seems that once the proposals do come in, you are also seeing an impact on the time in which those proposals get approved and turned around, as opposed to prior. And have you seen, um, anecdotally speaking, have you seen a lift there, like where a proposal has come in and it's getting approved in a day or two as compared to going weeks without approvals?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that, that's sort of individual specific on who is running their, their geography or their segment or whatever. But at least I know now that the capability is there. So if they're lax, I can correct that quickly. But yeah, I mean, it's near instantaneous. It's just a matter of setting the right SLA between, the different steps in approval.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think the last thing that I heard was that the reporting and measuring of the ROI has also become a bit easier because you've standardized on a data model and a process. And regardless of who it is, whether it's the feet on the street at VMware or whether it's the channel partners, everybody's kind of coming together with the same type of a format.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah. And accuracy, I mean, it's probably my biggest, format's nice. Accuracy was the big bogey in the past. So it's really been cleaned up. So.
Yeah, and I'd say accuracy and granularity in terms of data we can get now is going to help us shape the program going into the future. Because we want to sell certain technologies over others, and help our customers. We know where, I guess the right focus areas potentially could be given where the market's going, and that's what we want to help structure the program around. So.
Well said, John. Yeah, well said. Where do you guys want to take Amplify next? What is the next phase for this program itself?
You want to lead that one, John?
I liked how you were, your vision of it.
Okay. Yeah. So, Amplify to me, it's a framework, and we built that framework out. And, our goal is, like we said, where, we believe in growth technologies of today will be tomorrow's mainstream technologies. And you need an active ecosystem to sell those mainstream technologies. So I see Amplify as a funnel for our product development cycle. So, what is, growth technology today, hyperconverged storage, virtualized networking, those kind of concepts today, we really need to get the expertise in the channel there where they can deploy those. And so that eventually long-term, the channel is selling those things on their own, and we can take our VMware and Intel sellers and move them to what's coming out of the technology pipeline for tomorrow. So I see Amplify as the key mechanism there to ramp up the ecosystem and then move on.
Yeah, and I would say that, both of us, as we, in collaboration with Intel, I'm looking to drive just revenue producing programs. And that's what partners want to see. That's what our global channel team wants to see, how we're impacting, how well the partners can help drive these solutions to the customers that are important to us, and obviously they're all important to us. But so I think every program kind of has a shelf life, but I think the way Attis framed it is perfect because we think, Amplify potentially has a long shelf, not the short shelf life as some programs do, because of the nature of we're going to help launch the next big solutions through this, which are deployed through our partners. And we've got the channel so critical for us to scale what we do that I can see this, lasting into the future several years, as long as we can fund it. So,
on that point, I think that something that I think is kind of funny in the partner world, in the channel world, is Amplify is a pretty common program name, right? I think Ignite, yeah. I hear a lot. I'm curious to know what the audience thinks in terms of, what are your program titles that you think are overused? We might go there next year with, whatever Amplify morphs into.
The reskin, yeah.
The reskin, yeah. But I mean, the accelerate. Nice, Tim. Thanks. Yeah, I think it's classic. But the framework underlying that, it's a set of tools and processes, and it will be successful forever. And we probably will have to rebrand to accelerate or something like that as the technologies that we're pushing change, so that we can signal to our partners that we're moving, away from the status quo.
Excellent, excellent. I just talk a little bit about the closed loop process as well. I think that's what you were hinting at here. Is there is a front end process of managing the MDF and incentives and things of that nature that you are now co-giving to your channel partners. But as they as they use that money, and as they help you drive sales, there's a process on your end now of also being able to close the loop, right, and see the revenue impact that each channel partner is having on your bottom line. So talk a little bit about that as well.
Okay, I'm kind of going to mirror this into a question I thought I saw in the chat here. Somebody's asking for, what is Amplify specifically? So what we're doing is we're providing all of the tools. I mean, what is, so for hyperconverged storage, for example, vSAN is VMware's product. We have hardware and system recommendations that line up to that. It's all been optimized and benchmarked, and I mean it's really quite a complementary basket of goods that you're buying that really work well together, and a lot of engineering effort after that, or led up to that. I would say Amplify is there's a component of VMware's training, so they have a competency training program, MSc. I don't know if you want to cover that, John, but we're trying to build that expertise in the market, and we do that by getting partners to take those trainings and then following through with reimbursements on their efforts on specific deals that they're working that have a scale potential, with a scale out or scale up potential. So what Intel is looking for is that initial deployment with a sort of the roadmap or the pipeline within that particular end customer that they're intending to move to, hyper-converged storage. So today we take that on a leap of faith. We're really reimbursing for the initial deployment, and we don't have a closed loop in terms of finding out what happened at the end of the period of time. It's usually a year. So we are working on developing that. I think we're, that'll be a cost benefit kind of thing. I mean, we're pretty satisfied with developing the pipeline and knowing that it will grow, because the product offering is, I mean, what enterprises can do with that infrastructure is quite something, and we have a lot of faith in that. But if we can find a low-cost way to get closed loop on that pipeline, we will take it. And obviously, WorkSpan is the tool capability, and the next thing we need is the partner willingness to follow through, which is, a challenge.
Yeah, and sorry if we didn't make it real clear on the program itself, but it is, helping support partners with the services component of a deployment. And the deployments aren't for everything in the toolkit from us, but it's for these kind of growth solutions. So think HCI, which is for us vSAN, NSX, which is, our virtualized networking product, VMware Cloud is part of it, VCF, which is our VMware's Cloud Foundation, which is an overlay to both hybrid, what we see as your hybrid cloud, on-prem cloud moving to multi-cloud. So those are just some of the products, these growth products that we're trying to help get that initial deployment. And as we've seen, say for vSAN, it's exponential what the second and third deployment typically is for a partner. So if we can make sure they can deploy those solutions, we know they're going to grow that potential install base with a customer, and the customer is going to be satisfied. So.
All right, awesome. Hey guys, last questions from my end. Both of you have now deployed and run a really successful program. Why do you think ecosystem professionals should act now? what's one advice that you both can give to our audience here?
For me, it's all about, it's technology. You have to constantly move forward, and part of constantly moving forward is finding a way to get your, I guess in my mind, what is legacy product, which really is mainstream product, to try to get it to scale so that you can work on the future forward kind of concepts. So I think that's a pretty strong need in anybody in technology. So I think we're all trying to solve that same problem, right? It's how do you put your, Intel has 5,000 salespeople. How do I put those 5,000 salespeople on the next technology and let the technologies that are really mainstream being sold by the ecosystem, and making sure there's an economy that is, mutually beneficial in that ecosystem. So I think I'm sure everybody that would be interested in this webinar has that same goal, right?
Yeah, and I think for us, it's the ecosystem is critical in this. Channel partners are critical in the solutions we're going to deploy. Everybody has to, in terms of designing programs around the solutions we want to get out to customers, is going to, we've got to redirect in terms of what we do moving forward, given the current situation. I'm hopeful that this thing passes. COVID passes, we get back engaged a little bit more with customers, because hey, there's the channel partners. They can't do deployments unless they can get on site. Now, many of them have been able to do that, but the goal is hopefully their pipeline is building enough to where we're going to see this as we launch the program. It's it'll be fully utilized by the end of the year. So, but I guess it's just designing those programs around with this current environment, how we're going to take advantage of, not take advantage of it, but just making sure we're driving these growth solutions.
Yeah, really well said there, John and Attis. And I think your channels need you now more than ever, right? Basically, and they need you to simplify and digitize, and or otherwise they won't really be able to survive in your ecosystem, especially in the times that we are in now. And they also need the flexibility of the MDF to basically apply away from the in-person events of the past versus the digitized events of the future. So I think you guys are really on a good track here, and you have the right base already formed, and really excited to see where you guys take this next. So thank you for being on this session today and sharing your journey with us. I will pull back Chip in and open it up for questions.
Thanks, Graf.
Hey guys, this was awesome.
Thanks.
This was awesome session. Yeah, thank you. Actually had some comments in the chat saying great session. So well done. I've shared a lot of really good information. We do have some questions. I think one, Attis, you answered. The one that was voted up was, can you provide some details on the Amplify program? And I think actually both of you shared some of those. This is an interesting question from Robert Walmsley. For Amplify, how did oops, it's moved around. Hold on a second. Let me get it moved down. For Amplify, how did VMware move from the generic to the specific scale to help with help all the hundreds of thousands of channel partners differentiate themselves and add something different to the customers, not just generic offerings?
Yeah, so I would say with that, we're not. This program isn't for everybody, because we're trying to target those partners that have solution competency, some level of that solution competency. So our global partner organization has kind of the macro programs that are driving those competencies with the broader channel. This is really kind of a specific program. We touch quite a few partners globally, but like I said, we're trying to be specific to those growth solutions that we know is going to help us and help, and the customers are interested in. So hopefully that.
Yeah, and I would say, John, Robert put you on the spot. I mean, from my perspective, we definitely want these technologies to be part of those thousands of partners' portfolios. So I mean, this is sort of the nascent part of that. But I mean, that's what scale is. So I mean, absolutely, that's the goal. How they differentiate, yeah, I don't know how much will help them differentiate. We're just kind of trying to set the new status quo, and yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I think this is another question from Tom Donegan that I think there are some other questions, but I think they're not for you guys. So, but from Tom, is WorkSpan now your main system of record used to determine which partner gets registered, or is CRM playing that role? And if yes, how's that working?
Okay, so main system of record, I mean, that gets me. I don't know. It's definitely the tool that we're using for our relationship with VMware, for Intel and you know, Intel wide channel engagements. The WorkSpan's definitely ramping up, but we have, you know, we're a big company, we have a lot of systems. So you know, internally, I'm definitely an advocate for WorkSpan, and they are making moves into different segments of our company, but definitely not the sole provider for the service.
Across all programs.
Right.
Yeah. I think those were the main questions that I have. I don't see any hand raises for anybody want to be brave and raise your hand and ask a question.
Rob Sparno is, I think, wanting to ask a question.
Oh yeah, Rob says, can someone talk about organization design to optimize the programs? Oh, that's a good question. Thanks, Rob.
Can we talk about organizational design? Yeah, I mean, I think that for us, I mean, we have a lead in each region for VMware activities, and we have a global account manager. So that's how we have it designed. It's working well. Open-minded, I think, to further engagements, or different organizational models or whatever, but that's working well. I think that personally, I'm a big fan of localizing. So I like the feet on the street to be, you know, in the same area with the same culture, you know, understands their market. So we have it organized that way. I don't like ivory tower type of organizational structures where global people are managing everything. But, you know, models vary.
I'd say that to that localization piece, it's when we went to roll it out both last year and this year, you know, we tried to, you want uniformity across geos to the degree you can, yet we also wanted to be flexible for the different geos like APJ, where there might be, you know, increased number of partners that are driving the program, and there's a lower, there's a lower deployment value because of the size of the companies that they're going after. So we had to be just understanding of what those look like. And to Attis's point, it was critical that we had leads in each of the geographies from both our company and theirs to help drive this. You know, and we have channel leads in each of the regions to help drive this from our perspective and help make sure we're targeting the right partners. And then we have kind of the global team, very few people to help manage it at a high level, so we know what kind of run rate we're hitting at, and you know what kind of revenue we're driving to. So.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. This was fantastic. Great session. Really appreciate your sharing your thoughts and experience with this program, and congrats on the success of it.